everyone is well aware of the 8 Democrats that just voted to end any kind of leverage that they just had. And believe me, this is absolutely 100% Chuck Schumer's fault.
We asked President Trump to step in and meet with us to deliver lower health care for Americans, and instead, Donald Trump has taken the American people hostage, from cutting off food aid to hungry families and vets and seniors and kids, to manufacturing flight cancellations, to cutting off home heating aid, while he builds a billion-dollar ballroom with gold-plated toilets. Therefore, I must vote no.
You can't get 8 Democrats to just vote with the opposition unless the leader signs off on it. Before we dig into this, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Let's check this out. It seems now every piece of media on the Democratic side is actually lock in step, all saying the exact same message. Democrats messed up. So they have an interview on CNBC with Jake Sherman, and he pretty much breaks down what it is that they conceded to. What you need to listen to is the difference in tone of the people that disagreed, the tone of the people that got what they wanted, the Republican side, and then the tone of the people that voted to end the shutdown.
Well, Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were 2 goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was practically, well, there was 0 likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up to Donald Trump, the shutdown actually gave him more power, Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP and SNAP benefits across the country. Oh, by the way, Joe, you're going to love this. Guess who's getting paid during the shutdown? Not the park rangers or air traffic controllers, the ICE agents. Under special law, under that big, awful bill that they passed last summer, the ICE agents are being paid. Nobody else is.
An NBC News and MSNBC political contributor. So here we are, perhaps on the cusp of a deal. I want to know what you think the Democrats are going to get for all of this, what you think the Republicans are going to get for all of this, and the way the public is going to think about this when it's all over, if they think about it again at all.
Here's the Republican response.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything.
Basically what they did.
The Democrats get nothing. Let's just be clear. They get nothing. They don't get, there's no significant policy wins in this for Democrats. They have been spinning it as, well, they get SNAP for a year. They get to reverse the mass layoffs that the Trump administration has conducted since October, and they forestall any layoffs until through January. First of all, the Trump administration laid people off during the shutdown because the shutdown was ongoing. SNAP is funded because that's what happens when you reopen the government. You fund the agriculture department. So there's nothing. There's no real policy victories at all for Senate Democrats, and it reproves the point, Andrew, that shutdowns, the instigating party in a shutdown never gets anything. Donald Trump learned that in 2018, 2019. House Republicans learned that during their Obamacare shutdowns early in the Obama administration. You don't get anything. Now, Republicans, I will say this is not without risk for Republicans going forward, because they're going to be plunged into a conversation about healthcare, which has never been a winning issue for them. Maybe it changes. I don't know. I can't tell the future, but they will be forced to talk about healthcare, which is not a great topic for them. And these credits are expiring. They are. They're going to expire at the end of the year, and maybe they can find something better. Maybe they can't. But that's the only real risk I see for Republicans, which is a modest risk at that.
The problem with all of that is they were already forced into a discussion about healthcare. They were already being forced into a discussion about SNAP. They were already being forced into a discussion about jobs and layoffs, and everything was going in the Democrats' favor. They had Trump in such a position that when SNAP was being revoked, a judge had to issue an order for them to utilize the money that was already there in order to pay SNAP recipients, and they said no. They had them in a position to where they had to now pick and choose who gets paid, who doesn't get paid. The airline was being shut down. Food banks, there were growing concerns about how people are going to eat. You're saying that all of this is going on, all this chaos is happening, and the person in charge of the country won't even meet to sit down for a meeting to end it?
We asked them for 2 months, Hakeem and I, to sit down and talk with us. That's what always happens.
Why won't they do that?
Well, we learned why. Donald Trump said ignore the Democrats. So I think this really comes from Trump.
The narrative was being spun in such a way that Trump only really cares about the rich, those that already have. Those that can already fend for themselves. He was doing the Great Gatsby parties and his wealthy set of friends all celebrating while the people were hungry outside.
Brett, good evening. That's exactly right. We're waiting for some reaction from the White House. We're told that the Supreme Court extended its temporary pause on the Trump administration sending out those SNAP benefits to more than 40 million Americans, meaning that this is a temporary victory for the White House. They do not have to send out these SNAP benefits that many count on until at least 11:59 p.m. on Thursday.
He had to turn around to the Supreme Court and try to appeal so that he wouldn't have to pay SNAP recipients right away. You even had Marjorie Taylor Greene singing your notes, stating that she's disappointed in her own party. She went on The View and said all of this. And I know Chuck Schumer voted no, but that's posturing. He voted no to kind of keep his hands clean. You had the court supporting you. You had your party lock and step. You had many Republicans coming out and saying that the shutdown needs to end.
My opinion, I hear the Democrats are going to be blamed and the Republicans are going to be blamed. I actually think the president would be blamed. If there is a shutdown, and it's not going to be a horrible shutdown because, as you know, things will sort of keep
Well, it's a partial shutdown, right?
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the president of the United States.
Do you understand how difficult it is to blame the minority party when you're the one in charge? You even had all the people that were willing to lose their jobs and figure out different ways to feed their family. They were all on your side. Why? Because they already saw what was transpiring and they were disappointed with the current administration, so they wanted change. And he just gave up all of that for a handshake and for Mike Johnson to pretty much tell him, we'll get back to it when we want to.
You're going to hear, Jake, about people anecdotally, X,
Yep.
This is what it used to be. This is what it's going to be now
Yes.
because of and there may be pressure to really to address that at some point. I saw a meme this morning, and you sounded just like it because it was from G2, and it was a meme where that senator from Nevada was trying to shake down Michael Corleone for a casino license, and he makes unbelievable threats, and then says, "Let me know by the weekend what it is." And Michael Corleone says, "I'll give you my answer right now, Senator. Nothing." And that's exactly how I'll give you, and you're going to pay for the license.
But Jake, the thing that I'm trying to figure out is, do you think that a year from now, come the midterms, that somehow this factors into that discussion?
Midterms are. I don't know.
Or does this just go away?
Who's worse off, Schumer or Republicans in the midterms? Neither one looked very like they're in a great position.
Oh, I'll answer that one right now. Get rid of Schumer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. If that party wants to actually survive, get rid of Schumer.
I'll put it this way. In Donald Trump's Washington and Donald Trump's America, 12 months might as well be 12 years. We don't know what we're going to be thinking about, what voters are going to be thinking about next year. Now, the question is, if Joe is right, maybe they will have to fix this. If premiums are up 2x or 3x in some places, who do voters blame? Do they blame Republicans who control all of Washington, or Democrats who put the law into place and folded in the shutdown? I can't tell you the answer to that definitively. A lot of Republicans have told me that they think that they are going to shoulder the blame here. And listen, Trump seems at the moment, again, with Trump, you don't know where it's going to go, but at the moment interested in doing some sort of healthcare effort. I think that is not easy for Republicans. We've seen over the last 15 years, nearly 16 years, Republicans have not been successful in putting out a plan that people can rally around that is as comprehensive as the ACA. And maybe they don't want to. Maybe they'll make changes around the edges. But Joe, you are right. Republicans since October 1st or even before have not moved 1 inch on their position in this shutdown, which is we're not going to discuss healthcare with the government shutdown. And eventually Democrats are going to fold. And they did. And by the way, it's Monday. Maybe the Senate finishes this today. If they're lucky, they need to get consent from 100 senators. So we're going to go into at least toward the end of the week, middle end of the week, before this is fully resolved. And it will take airports and the rest of society a couple days here to snap back.
The leader of the party didn't even sit down and talk to you. He didn't even want to meet with you. He wouldn't pick up the phone to call you to say, come over, let's negotiate. There was nothing. The part that I find crazy about all of this is, if this is what you were going to concede to, what was the point of the 40 plus days? What was that all about? And make no mistake, Republicans will make sure that you know that you now own this shutdown, because it just looks like you were just being stubborn for posturing's sake. So Mike Johnson does an interview with CNN. He's emboldened now. And what do you think he says? Basically blames the entire thing on the Democrats, that all of this was unnecessary.
On Capitol Hill with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Speaker Johnson, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. So every Republican in the House, every single one, which doesn't happen very often, voted for the clean government funding bill on September 19th. Will they all vote for this compromise, do you think?
I believe they will. The long national nightmare is almost coming to an end now, the beginning of the end, as I said this morning in my press conference. It was long overdue, and the irony is, Jake, it really was a shutdown about nothing. I mean, what we're voting on is effectively exactly what we offered them several weeks back. We've added some appropriations bills now, which we're in favor of because it's getting us back to the regular order. We'll take care of some other details, but I don't think Chuck Schumer got anything out of this other than a political show, and sadly, I think that's what he was after the whole time.
And he's right. This one time, I can say that Mike Johnson is absolutely right. So they press him just a little bit and they ask him a question. You say that Chuck Schumer got absolutely nothing out of this. Now, the thing that actually brought them to the table to vote in favor of what you guys were putting forward weeks ago, are you going to hold the vote? Here's his answer.
We're praying that they can make it through the chaos that all the other American people have been made to suffer through because of this needless political show that the Democrats have been engaging in.
But
Who's he
you'll
blaming?
wait until you have the votes before you have the vote.
We need to get everybody back. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody in both parties, and I've told them to start the travel earlier today. So I expect and hope that we'll have everybody here.
So the Senate bill is setting a date for a Senate vote on extending the Obamacare subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of the year. You have not committed to a separate House vote on the issue. 13 of your most vulnerable members, as you know, wrote a letter to you saying that after the shutdown, quote, we should immediately turn focus to the growing crisis of health care affordability and the looming expiration of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits. While we did not create this crisis, we now have both the responsibility and the opportunity to address it. That's 13 members. Are you going to listen to them?
Yeah, I've been in contact with those members and all of our members throughout the entire ordeal that we've been going through. This is a very important point. We were always open to sitting down to negotiate and talk through how to reduce healthcare costs. It's a crisis for the American people. The cost have skyrocketed. It's the Democrats who put us into this scenario. Remember, they're the ones that created the ACA. We call it the Unaffordable Care Act, because that's exactly what's been yielded. Since 2010, since they put it into law, premiums have skyrocketed, some estimates 60% overall, and they're continuing to go up.
Well, premiums were skyrocketing before Obamacare, too.
Not at this pace, and the problem is now it's becoming completely unaffordable for more and more people. The Democrat solution is to subsidize the broken system. We would like to go in and look at the root causes of why those costs are so high, and we've been doing that. It's not just talking points. We have had laws signed into law, this Congress, that have begun to chip away at that. There's a lot more yet to do, but we've got to build consensus between the parties. It should be bipartisan. We're looking forward to that.
That's a long-term issue, though, what you're talking about. You're not going to be able to solve this issue of skyrocketing premiums, not just in Obamacare, for everything.
Well,
premiums are going up in Obamacare, yes. They're also going up for people not in Obamacare, for like me and you.
Well, there's short-term solutions and longer-term solutions.
Right,
You're
so-
right. It's very complicated.
But on the short
They're discussing the very reason that they gave them the vote in the first place. So that promise meant absolutely nothing then. When they said we will promise to put it to a vote, that meant absolutely nothing then. So really, you walked away empty-handed, just holding your tail between your legs. They're discussing right now the very reason 8 Democrats stepped out of line to vote in favor with Republicans about the very thing that they wanted. They said, okay, well, we will promise you that we'll actually put it to a vote. And now they're asking him, will you actually put it to a vote? And he's doing the Mike Johnson thing. I don't know.
Très bizarre, non?
No. Very clever.
term issue of the people who with the subsidies, and that's going to expire at the end of the year. Will you have a vote on the issue as your 13 Republicans, frontline Republicans,
Here it is.
people that you're the speaker because of them.
Yes.
They're in districts that are vulnerable.
Sure.
Will you have a vote so,
Well,
so they can vote?
The very people that you were citing in the letter believe we have to have real reforms. So what I'm committed to, and I have all along, this has never changed, is a deliberative process that we do in the House. We have a very small margin. Majorities, whomever has the majority now in this era is going to have a small margin, and so it requires the involvement of a lot of members. See, the problem that I had with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries is Leader Schumer was insisting that I go into a back room, Leader Thune and I go into a back room with he and Jeffries and do a four corners agreement to fix this. It's not possible. It was never appropriate to do that on a short-term funding measure. We needed the month of October, November, December to work through this. And ironically, because of his shenanigans, they've now taken all that time off the clock. So we have a lot more important work to do in a shorter time period.
Congressman Don Bacon, who's retiring.
This is why I can't stand CNN. Why would you not push this issue? Why would you not press back a little bit? You just heard what he said. He just said that because of the shutdown, hey, there's nothing we can do. We're out of time. So I know we might have promised, and I know that there's people in my own party that want us to put it to a vote in order for us to make some short-term reforms so their constituents aren't left out in the dirt. But hey, it's the Democrats. We can't do anything right now because the Democrats wasted so much time. And so our hands are tied. What do you want us to do? And CNN just lets that slide. Absolutely despicable. Listen, that's all I got for now. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and I will see you again on the next one. Be easy, y'all.